class. My name is Odogo Solomon. I'm a student of SS2. Our topic today is bearing. Now, bearing, I'm going to start with the definition of bearing. The bearing between two distant planes is the direction usually measured in degrees, which is from the north in a clockwise direction. Meaning that in bearing, we start from the north pole in a clockwise direction. This is the north pole, this is the east, this is the west, this is the south. And these points are called the four cardinal points. Next, we go to types of bearing. We have two types of bearing. One, the compass bearing or the cardinal point. This compass bearing is a bearing that can be read from the north pole or the south pole. Reading a bearing from the north to the east direction is the northeast. You call it the northeast. This is a line indicating the northeast direction of reading bearing. From reading a bearing from the south to the east direction is called the southeast direction. This is the line indicating it. Reading a bearing from the south direction to the west is called the southwest direction. This is the line indicating it. Reading bearing from the north to the west is called the northwest direction. This is the line indicating it. Now we cannot read our bearing from the west or the east. We read it from either the north or the south. Number two is the three-digit bearing. The three-digit bearing is like have a three figure in degrees, measured in degrees. For example, this is 060 degrees. And also we have another example, 120 degrees. Now, in this three-digit bearing, we start our reading from only the north pole. Now, this is the first example, that is 060 degrees. This is our north pole. Reading in a clockwise direction will be from here down to this point. This is 060 degrees. Our next example is 120 degrees. As we all know, from year to year is 90 degrees on this point. So 90 degrees is not up to 120, so you add another angle to make it 120 degrees. So from year to year is 120 degrees. So these are the examples of three-digit bearing. We'll go to example 1. Example 1 says the bearing of P from Q is 060 degrees. This is an example of the three-digit bearing. The bearing of Q from P is 060 degrees. What is the bearing of Q from P? Q is, this is from, the question here is from Q, so we are starting from Q. Draw cardinal points. This is Q. This is our north direction. From Q is 060 degrees. Meaning our 060 degrees, you come to the clockwise direction to this point, then you rule the line. So the line there, you draw another cardinal point and call it P. And here is 060 degrees. This angle is equal to this angle because they are alternate. So here is 60 degrees. Now the question is, what is the bearing of Q from P? We know that from here to here is 90 degrees. From here to here is 90 degrees. So summing it up is 80 degrees. Now to get the bearing of Q from P, that is from P. From P now is from this place. It will be the angle running through this point down to where this line cuts where this line cuts the direction. So the angle will move from here to here. So to get from here to here will be the 90 plus 90 plus the angle here. So we simply do 90 degrees plus 90 degrees plus this 60 degrees to give us 240 degrees. So this is the bearing of Q from P. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Move to the second example, example 2. The example stated as thus. A traveler moved from a town P on a bearing of 055 degrees to a town Q 200 kilometers away. He then moves from Q on a bearing of 155 degrees to a town R 400 kilometers from Q. Now, find the distance between P and R. start from the first line. A traveler moves from a town P on a bearing of 0.55 degrees. So we start from our point, which is the town P. Now draw our cardinal point. Now we are starting from the point P. This is our point P. This is our north pole. A town P on a bearing of 0.55 degrees. So reading our bearing in a clockwise direction is from here to here. This is 0.55 degrees. Down to a town Q, 200 kilometers away. So from here to here is 200 kilometers away. To a town Q, so this will be our town Q. This is our north pole. From our previous example, these angles are alternate, so they are equal. So from here to here will be 55 degrees. Now, we read from the next thing. He said he then moved from Q on a bearing of 155 degrees to a town R. He then moves from Q. So the traveler moves from Q on a bearing of 155 degrees to a town R. So 155 degrees from here to here. Since it's more than 90 degrees. On a bearing of 155 degrees to a town R, 400 kilometers from Q. Since here is 200 kilometers, obviously from here will be longer than here. So 400 kilometers will be somewhere here. This is 400 kilometers to a town R. So let's call this point R. These are not pole. A point R from Q. Now find the distance between P and R. So this is our P and this is our R. So we rule the line to this point. So this line is called PR. Now we have gotten our angle here, and this angle here is 155 degrees. Due to the laws in geometry, angles on a straight line is 180 degrees. So we have gotten from here to here as our 155 degrees. Now to get this angle here, you simply minus 155 degrees from 180 degrees to get the angle here. So to get the angle here, it will be 180 minus 155 degrees. And 180 minus 155 degrees is 25 degrees. So the whole of the angle here in this triangle is 80 degrees. Now we have gotten this as a triangle on its own. Looking at this triangle, we can use our cosine rule to solve for PR. Let's call this point, which is opposite to P, is our small letter P. This point opposite to R, we call it small r. And this point opposite to Q, this is our Q. This point opposite to Q, we call it our small q. Now the cosine rule states thus that Q square, which is this PR square, Q square is equal to R square plus P square minus 2RP cos Q. Cos Q now is the angle here. Cos Q, this is the angle here. Now we know that our Q is the part we are looking for, which is PR. Our R is 200 kilometers, our P is 400 kilometers, and our R, we already know our R. Why our Q, our BQ is this angle 80 here. Now we are going to substitute all the values into this rule now. So Q square is equal to R squared, this is 200 squared, plus our P is 400 square minus 2 times what is our R is 200 and our P is 400. It's cos 80 degrees. Our Q square will now be equal to 200 square is 40,000 plus our 400 square is 160,000 minus 2 times our r, which is 200 times 400, then cos. Now q square will be equals to 40,000 plus 160,000 is equals to 200,000. Minus 2 times 200 times 400 is equals to minus 160,000 times our. You can punch from calculator now. 0.1736. Going to the next step, simply use q square is equals to 6. Calculate. Now the whole of minus 160,000 times 0.1736 is 27776. Now minusing 200,000, from this will give you 172,224. Now q square is simply equals to this. So to get q on its own will be the square root of 17224. Now the square root of 17224 is simply this. Now q now, if you want to, you can round q now to the nearest kilometer. So rounding up to the nearest kilometer, approximating to the nearest kilometer is 415 kilometer. So q is equals to 415 kilometer. And remember, our q is equals to like PR. So therefore, PR is equals to 415 kilometer. Thank you very much. This is the end of the class.